soldier. But that's all it was. He wouldn't do anything in his barracks life like guard or KP or anything. He'd always screw up. He just didn't do those things, you know. But that's jumping ahead of my story. So Anzio, after they killed half of our people, they pulled us off the beach, put us on a British boat, and we set sail for England. And that was in June, beginning of June. Actually, that wasn't June. That was sometime in March or April.
She was on the phone and she
They
said
put us on the
she's
phone.
looked everywhere for the paper, and she said he must have it. Do you have the paper? Okay. What do you want to do about it?
We're okay. We're fine.
You want me to just hang up? Or you want to speak to her?
No, that's okay. We tell her that's fine. We're doing fine without it. Thank you.
So we got on a boat, a British boat, and we headed for. We were going to England, but we didn't know where in England. On that boat and that ocean, from right out of Naples. Seemed like to me it's about a little less than a week. And went to Liverpool, England, and then we got on train, and train took us to a place called Hinckley, Henkley, and that was a small textile town. You know what textiles are, all right? And Hinckley was about 4 miles from a bigger town named Leicester, England. And that's where we stayed until the jump. Now this seemed like to me was about April that we got to England. And what we did there, we were parked in a YMCA, and that was our home while I was in England, in YMCA. And one day we were out marching, drilling, you know, looked up in the sky and there's a plane up there throwing numbers, drew a great old big 6 with smoke. We looked at this and look at that fool up there playing with arithmetic. Drew a great old big 6. Had no earthly idea what it was. And that was about a week later, they called us, "Get your pack, we're leaving." And said, "Where are we going?" Said, "We're going to the airport." So we got our pack. We always had a pack ready to go. All we had to do, grab it, put it on, grab your rifle, and head out. So you carried everything that you owned with you. And so they put us in the hangar, airplane hangar, and locked the doors and covered the windows and all that sort of thing. And they started giving us money. And they gave us French money, Belgian money, Holland money, Netherlands, Italian lira, and a couple other types of paper money, no coins, paper money that we would use wherever we're going to jump. So they kept changing the paper. Say, one period they'd give us one kind of money, then they'd take it up and give us another kind. So we never knew at any time where we were going. Because and that way there'd be no leaks getting out as to what was happening. And and then these planes were all ready and everything. And so they gave us French francs. And they said, "Okay, now line up. We're going to board the plane." So we then knew that we were going to jump on France. Well, we got on the plane.
What was that 6 in the sky?
Huh?
What was the thing that they painted the 6 in the sky? What did that mean?
The 6th of June was the day of the jump.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Okay, that was
That was the start of the invasion.
I see. Was that D-Day?
Huh?
That
That
was
was D-Day, yeah.
But
Oop.
what day of the week was it when they did the 6 in the sky? It was
In the sky, it was
Week or
about
two before.
Monday.
okay.
The following Sunday would be the 6th. I never will forget that.
That was on a Monday, and it happened.
I think it's about a Monday that they plane
and,
drew
and
the 6th.
D-Day was on a Sunday,
The D-Day was 6th of June, Sunday, yeah.
so this was Monday. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we're on the plane takes off. Now mind you, I told you that we were only 50% strength, remember? Okay, here we are flying towards the English Channel, and we get up and we fly for a few minutes, and then they turn the signal, says, okay, you turn around, you're going back. So we flew out over the channel and then headed back to camp. And we didn't know what was going on. But what we found out later was we were reserved on the jump. And they had, the rest of the troops had gone on ahead and had made the jump and it had been successful and they didn't need us. And so the reserves were sent back. And so we got to go back to England. So I did not jump on D-Day, but I flew over the channel on the way before they called it off for us, because we were only 50% strength. So we go back to England, and the next day we're told about the jump, and everything went well and everything. And you know, did you see the longest day, the picture? Have you seen that picture?
No.
You haven't seen that
That's
picture?
a great movie with
The
Tom
longest
Hanks.
day? That's the D-Day jump. And this
We
guy
ought to rent
this
this
guy-
movie.
jumped and landed on a steeple on the church, and he's up there hanging,
You did
and they're
see that.
shooting at him. He was in our outfit. He lives in Wilmington today. He's alive.
So that really happened that he landed?
Huh?
That really did happen? A guy landed?
Yeah, yeah, that happened. All this, most of the stuff in the longest day happened. It happened, it really did. Anyhow, the hedgerows were what the problems were. Hedgerows, just like you see hedges on the road, that's what they had. And the Germans would hide behind them and we couldn't see them, see. Anyhow, I went back to England and we took up barracks life while they were still fighting over there. And we went into the same drill formation and everything. And the war was going well. Our outfit, the 82nd, had done its jump and had been successful and had moved on up and had participated, what I say, well. Well, in the meantime, back where I was, we were going through training. Well, at that time, all of the blacks.
Well, I mean, how did you go from D-Day to this? So you went and jumped to D-Day and,
No, he didn't go, and they turned around.
oh, you turned around, you said?
Yeah, we turned around over the English Channel and came back home. We were only 50% strength. See, we didn't have enough troops to do any fighting. We were in reserve.
I see. Okay, you said, all right. All right, I'm
So,
sorry.
now let me tell you about life in England. During World War II, we had black soldiers, but they were in quartermaster and ordnance and trucking and locomotive and outfits like that. They didn't fire. They didn't have guns. They didn't go in the front lines. I never saw a black soldier in the front lines. later on in the war. Anyhow, we had none in the paratroopers. There were no black paratroopers in World War II. Anyhow, what happened, these guys who were in the quartermaster, they had all our clothes. And what they would do is they would steal boots and socks and food and everything and be friends with the neighbors who were English girls, white girls. Well, what happened is in England had colonies of black countries, and the only black people that English people saw were kings and princes. Well, the black troops found out about this. Some of them had taken history, studied history, and they found out that the only blacks who'd been to England were the royalty from the colonies. Well, the English girls just had a fit over that, because these blacks told them that they were princes, and they said, you marry me and I'll take you back to South Carolina and you can have a plantation. And they didn't even know what a plantation was, and neither did the blacks. So what happened, they made friends with English girls and started going with them, while these girls had already made friends with the boys who jumped. And when they started coming back home, they hung a few of them in Leicester, England. And you'll never hear about that. You never heard it from me or nobody else. But they got these blacks running around with these white girls, their girlfriend, and they hung them. Literally. One of them hung in a darn bell tower of a church. Anyhow, that didn't stop there. When we had another episode in Reims, France, that nobody knows about. I'll tell you about that a little later. Anyhow.
How do you spell Lister, England?
Huh?
Lister?
Leicester.
How do you spell
Leicester. Leicester.
L-E-I-S?
I don't know if it's in your book or not, but it's Leicester.
Yeah.
And I was in a place called Hinckley, Henkley, Hinckley. And that was the good life. But those guys that stole those white girls, they didn't fare too well. Now, let me jump ahead. We were after we were in Chalon, France. Chalon was a place that had barracks, and French troops had been there. We were in Chalon, France, and Chalon was about 8 kilometers, 8 miles from Reims, France. Now, Reims, France is the champagne capital of the world. The city of Reims is built over caves underneath where they store all the champagne. And I stayed down there one time 3 days and didn't move. Anyhow, when we got to Reims, we found the blacks again had been taking our boots. Now, nobody in World War II wore paratrooper boots, but paratroopers. And they were wearing our boots, and they were selling our boots, and all of our uniform. We had special trousers and jackets and everything, paratroopers did. And so the blacks and the white paratroopers got into a fight, and there were some killings. And one of the guys, paratrooper, white paratrooper, went into the black barracks and went up and down the road with a machine pistol and killed about 30 blacks. At that time, he ran back to the outfit and got a bunch of boys, and they went back in town and killed some more. But at that time, the commanders, General Bradley and his crew, were getting ready to take the 82nd Airborne and break it apart and send it to the four winds. You ever heard that expression? The four winds?
Mm-mm.
That means they take an outfit and disperse it, obliterate it, send it out all over to all the troops throughout the ETO, European theater, because of that thing that had happened. And if it hadn't been for the Battle of the Bulge, the 82nd Airborne would be no more today. Because what happened after that massacre in Reims, which nobody knows about, the Germans broke through at Bastogne, and one morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody was waking up, grab your pack, we're leaving. We put our packs on our back, went out and stood in line, and these 18-wheelers drove up. And we had crawled aboard the 18-wheeler, they closed up the back end, and for the whole day, next day, we rode all day. Didn't get out, stayed in that darn 18-wheeler, and that night, they opened up the gates and we jumped out into snow. And we didn't know where the hell we were. And they said, you're in Belgium. And there's a fight going on in a place called Bastogne. And so we jumped off those trucks into the snow. And this is getting toward midnight now. It seemed like to me it's about the 16th or the 17th of December. Whenever we hit the ground. And so for then, the next month or so, through the month of December and parts of January, fighting in the Battle of the Bulge. And that's where the 101st Airborne got surrounded by the Germans. And the Germans sent word to the commander, General McAuliffe, the 1st Airborne, to surrender. And he took a piece of paper and wrote on it, nuts, UTS, and sent it to the colonel, to the general, and they couldn't figure out what he's talking about. But that's how that famous word nuts got in the news, is from General McAuliffe, who sent it to the German journal when he was asked to surrender his troops. And so we helped save the 101st and the rest of the troops in the Battle of the Bulge. But see, you never hear about that. All you hear about is the 101st, because they're the ones who got caught, see. So,
What year was that? December of what, 1940?
at 44. But that was in the Battle of the Bulge. The next,
But you didn't paratroop in there, you went by,
Huh?
you went by truck, you didn't go by...
yeah, that was truck. That was after Holland. Now, I haven't told you about Holland. One morning, they lined us up, put us on a plane. This was in September.
Does he need to eat?
I got some coffee and
Does he need
Cinnamon buns if
to...
y'all
Are we
want
keeping
something.
him from eating? Doesn't
You wanna
he
eat something?
No. In
When the flakes out, you'll know.
in 44, they woke us up. They get your pack. We're leaving. We went to the airport, got on a plane, flew to Holland, and jumped. I think it's the 16th or 17th of September that we jumped on Holland.
in 44?
Was Was this
do?
before,
That's 45.
is this after you rescued the 101st?
Huh?
Is this after you rescued the 101st Airborne, or is this before?
Before what?
The Battle of the Bulge was.
The Bulge was after Holland.
Okay.
So what happened, we had jumped on Holland, stayed there a while, and finally came back to Chalon, France. That's how we got to Chalon, that I told you about, and tell you about Reims.
So
So
when you
we'd
jumped in
already
Ho-
been to Holland.
What'd you do in Holland? Did you get rid of a bunch of Germans there, or
Huh?
was there a bunch of Germans there you had to?
Where?
In Holland.
Yeah, all German.
And what'd you do?
The Holland people speak German.
Did you push them out? No, I mean the
We
enemy.
killed them. So what happened, we had to, our objective was to take this bridge, and the Germans were on the other side, and they had the bridge primed to bomb. And we had to cross the river in open boats to get to the other side because the British paratroopers who jumped in Arnhem got caught. And Montgomery, he wanted to be the hero of the Holland jump, so he assigned the British airborne to jump on Arnhem, and they got suckered in, and the Germans captured them. And we had to go across the river. And also, in addition to going across the river, and they're shooting down you at the water, and you're in the boats now. And these boats don't have motors, some of them did. We had to paddle across the river, and we lost a lot of men going across the river. But they defused bombs on the bridge and saved the bridge, and the tanks were able to go across and help mop up after we got across. So that was essentially the battle of the Netherlands. I saw a guy get his head knocked off with a glider on the landing field whenever I jumped. And what I did, when we jumped, the first thing I started looking for was the Red Cross bottle, because that belonged to the medics, and it had all the alcohol in it. So that's what I'm looking for. See, when you jump, your equipment comes down with you. We had equipment under the plane, and we threw it out the door too, including the medics and the food and the ammunition and all that stuff. You have to jump with that out of the plane. And I was looking for a package bundle that had Red Cross on it, because it had the liquor. But what happened? Some of the planes crashed, and all of the gliders crashed. They didn't save a single glider, and they were over in the woods, and these Air Force people, they were scared to death. Those that survived, all they had was a handgun. See, they didn't have rifles or anything, and all your glider pilots, most of them were sergeants or warrant officers. They were over there hiding too. They didn't do a whole lot of fighting, although we were part of the airborne. And this glider came in, and what happened, the glider could haul jeeps, and when it hit the ground, if it hit wrong, the jeep would go right straight on through the cockpit and kill the pilots and everything right out into the field. When it lands, boy, I tell you, it's messy. But that was war, and they were shooting at us. That's another thing. That's what scared me. See, a C-47 has thin skin about that thick. That's all. And metal burst from bombs to go right through planes, see. And when we were flying over, while they were shooting at us. But they didn't know we were coming either. They were just lucky.
Wait, so what are you talking? You were talking about you were going across a river in the boat, and then
Huh? What about the boat?
You made it to the other side and beat the Germans and saved the bridge when you crossed the river.
Well, the engineers were the ones who were able to disarm the bombs on the bridge. But the other side was shooting machine gun and all the time.
And how did you get to what you're talking about right now?
Huh?
Okay, how did you get to what you're talking about now?
What do you mean?
He just
Right,
kind
I'm
of
talking about-
changed to a different scene.
At Arnhem? Arnhem was the place that the British airborne jumped and got caught.
Yeah.
The Germans pinned them down, they
And
couldn't move.
And then you
We had to
go across-
rescue them by crossing the river. We couldn't go across the bridge because
They had bombs.
it was ready to be bombed.
And then what happened after that?
After that, the tanks came in. That's when
Yeah.
Patton and this crowd came in, on the bridge, and was able to mop up with the tank, which was a big deal, see, because we didn't have, all we had was handguns, see. When you're a paratrooper, oh, that's all you got is handgun. It's you and whatever. Of course, we had orders where we could lob shells in.
Yeah.
But it's tough. You just lucky to stay alive. And we could not fraternize with the Dutch people. You know what fraternize means? Fraternize means to cohabitate, or be friends, or talk to them. We were not allowed to talk to the Dutch people because, see, they spoke German, and we didn't know if they were German or Dutch. So we were not allowed to talk to any women. Of course, the men, they'd come out with their hands up. They wouldn't dare face an American soldier. He'd kill them.
And then what happened after that?
After that,
Yeah.
well, after that we went back to Chalon, in Chalon, France, where I was telling you about before, Harlem. And from there, we went to Cologne. You ever heard of Cologne? Cologne was a great big town in Germany. It had a famous cathedral, and I was in that cathedral. That was the only building that the U.S. Air Force left standing. And there was a river there too, and I crossed the river and ran into a building. The building was so camouflaged that it didn't even know it was there. And what happened? It was the Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company building, and the Germans were guarding it. And that was their job, to guard that Ford building. And I walked into it. Didn't see it.
In the middle of a river?
Yeah, we had to cross the river.
And then was it right out at the?
Huh?
Was it right next to the river?
It was on the other side of the river from Cologne. I went through Cologne, and incidentally, let me tell you about Cologne. One of the guys fell in a hole in downtown Cologne, and he fell in the basement of a restaurant that was a wine cellar, and we made him stay down there for 3 days. Handed up the wine. But it was some fun there.